Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome award-winning, multi-platinum country music icon and star of the upcoming Fox series Monarch, Trace Adkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that McConey Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at McConey Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, McConey Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to McConeySetupShop.com and learn why McConey Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but is it enough? It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
And there it is, green flag in the air, and we are a go.
Curb, curb, curb again.
Oh! And he's gonna make it work as they're 3/10 back.
Sir, you can't park there.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Circuit of the Americas right outside of Austin, Texas. It is round number 5 of the All-Star 15 TV Super Tropheo Series, qualifying just about to end. Joining me up in the broadcast booth, the race control, the owner, and probably one of the best partners I have up in the broadcast booth outside of Mike Campigio. And whenever Ryan Fry decides to show up, or TJ, Joe's right there at the top. But let's not keep him waiting any longer. Mr. Joe Hutchings.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing on this April Fool's Day?
Oh, you are definitely April Foolsing them.
Oh, we're definitely gonna be April Fooling these guys tonight. I'm not spoiling the surprise. No, they're not getting rain.
They're not getting rain. For everybody watching at home, rain has been completely gone for the full first season. This is a building year. But Joe, COTA tonight. We're using the COTA West circuit. If anybody remembers, ACAR a couple weeks ago ran this exact circuit, and so did the IRL NASCAR series. I feel, in my opinion, this is the more racy version of the circuit, especially with the 10 to 15, or I guess in ACAR's perspective, the 25-30 car field. But Joe, this is going to look racy tonight.
Oh, it should put on a fantastic show, especially with the what's going to be happening going off into turn 1. I can't. I'm terrible at keeping secrets, but you know, we decided to go with the short colors to kind of keep the group packed up and to provide, you know, some really good side-by-side racing. And it looks like qualifying has finished up there, AJ.
Yes, it has. A couple cars still out on the race course trying to finish their lap. They do get an extra minute or so if they were on a flyer to see if they can get through it and post a time. But Joe, this is going to be a very, very eventful evening. You mentioned some fun that these drivers are going to have, but a lot of these drivers not happy with those rear tires after a couple laps. We go from one racetrack where they don't feel steady, but they can kind of work around it, to today where they're struggling to just make laps at all around COTA. Like I said, I think it's going to be really interesting and very fun to watch for everybody watching at home.
Well, it's going to be quite entertaining because now that qualifying's over, I can kind of let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be very dark at the start.
Yes, do not adjust your cameras. It will get brighter. Hopefully.
Oh, it will.
That's not very dark, Joe. It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Huh. That's funny. It was supposed to start at 4:30.
Oops.
April Fool's joke on me. Error.
All right, let's run through the starting lineup for today's race at COTA. Let's see. There's the button. Was looking for it. Scott Rambler, Ken Huber, your front row. In row 2, it's Michael Rupp and Daniel Krim. Row 3, it's Josh Vidal, Jesus Pastillas in 6th. In row number 4, it's Brandon Storr and Wyatt Franklin. And rounding out the field, it's Jake Zito. Joe, kind of take us to what we're going to expect around COTA.
COTA is actually really wide, so it's there's gonna be lots of room to race side by side, maybe bang a couple of fenders here and there, but not really wreck. The drivers were having problems with the curbing during practice. I know a couple of the front runners were complaining about those curbs and upsetting the suspension on the car. So it should make for a fun race.
I think so. I think we are going to have a very interesting race because while we were expecting it to start in the dark, it is going to go transition from early morning to midday, and we might see this race finish in sim right around 3 in the afternoon. So at its peak of it being hot in Texas. We're just waiting to see that iRacing official pace car, that beautiful Porsche, start moving. And there it goes. They're going to have a half a lap before we start this event. Now, for everybody watching at home, we are on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube tonight. This race will be uploaded to our TikTok at a later date, but go check that out as well. Hopefully it doesn't get banned on Saturday again. But there they go. Scott Rambler, Ken Huber, the heavy hitters, I would say, for the series. But Scott missing a couple races kind of gives Ken a really nice buffer. As I'm looking at the points right now, they weren't updated after last week's race.
Sorry, has a couple of life events happen.
Yeah.
You'll have to apologize.
Yeah, we'll have all those points squared away for next week's race. Do not worry as we're coming through the final couple turns before we send these Lamborghinis up the hill. As the lights are on, I think that's Josh Vidal's car, really bright. Well, here we go. Through the final turn, everybody goes, gridding back up. And green flag in the air. That went a lot further down the front stretch than I was expecting. All right, that was a little too clean. I'm kind of upset about that. But good for everybody.
So am I.
Everybody, for the most part, single file. See the 8 of Michael Rupp early on. As the 47 of Daniel Krim right behind him. Right behind Brim, it's the purple and black of Josh Vidal. Brandon Storr got a position going into turn number 1 as we're looking for a pass right in front of them, right behind them. As Jake Zidao was looking to make a move on Jesus Pastillas. Now, this is very much not like NASCAR where you try to make your passes while the tires are nice and fresh and on a restart. You need to warm these suckers up because you could spin out in a heartbeat, and we saw a lot of that in practice, Joe.
Oh yeah, our pole sitter was having some issues, and I know Ken Huber, our points leader right now, was he was sitting there trying to keep grip in the rear of the car. So we'll see, later on after they get tires warmed up, see how much grip they got.
Jesus and Jake going into turn number 1 side by side, back to the blimp cam to see how it's gonna. Oh boy! Oh, Jake makes the move, but a late dive. I think that's Wyatt Franklin almost collects. Oh, Jake pops that turtle! Holy cow! Joe, did you catch that?
I did not, sir.
Oh, well, you will. Holy cow.
Oh, wow. He's trying to turn this into the he's trying to turn this into the Italian Air Force here.
And the funny thing is, Wyatt Franklin followed him as well through it. Daniel Krim in the black and gold camo looking Lamborghini trying to chase down the blue and yellow of Michael Rupp. But Joe, why don't you on your end switch to Scott Ramler as he's going to come onto the front stretch and take us a lap around Circuit of the Americas.
Alrighty, hang on one second. So
Ramler,
this is going to be kind of tough. Yeah, you're going to have to do it because I can't see your screen because Discord is not being friendly today.
Aren't you in the session?
I am in the session, but for some reason, we are not synced.
Oh, interesting. Cool. So, Rambler going through the S's, hitting every apex, getting 2 of those tires, trying to cut those turns as best as possible. Now down the short chute, trying to make it as straight as possible, heading down towards, I think this is turn 10. Very tight left-handed turn. Apex and get well out. A double right-hander coming into a double left-hander. Very weird apex here. Doesn't want to hit the first one, hits the second one. Now underneath the Geico Xfinity bridge. Listen to that throttle control around through the carousel. Now heading into the penultimate left-handed turn. Cuts it just a little bit short. One more left-handed turn down onto the front straightaway. And that's a lap around COTA. Like Wyatt Franklin having all sorts of issues in the back of the field. Oh, he's gonna loop it. Oh, and killed the inside wall through the carousel. That one's definitely gonna leave a mark. Going back to Brandon spinning out, because apparently it was on screen and I must have missed it. Oh, wow. That is my bad. Back it up a little further, hit that blimp cam. Does he just hit the... Oh, tries to throttle through the apex. Doesn't look like there's too much damage on that 83. That still looks pretty good. He is 37.5 seconds back from the leader, though.
He'll recover.
Scott doing a pretty good job keeping about a second and a half ahead of Ken Huber.
This battle is going to go one of two ways. Either Ken is just playing with Scott, or Scott is gap managing.
Honestly, I think it very much could be a little bit of both, Joe. Yeah, I thought that was going to work. It's not. I'm lagging hard again.
No problem.
So everybody, we're trying to share some information between the two of us, but with some of the programs we are using, they're not liking it very much today.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize as much as we can. Seems that everything doesn't want to work tonight. April Fools.
Well, that's the funny thing, Joe. We're here to work. iRacing, I think, is working fine. The broadcasting software is working good. There's one little bitty piece that helps us out immensely that just doesn't want to cooperate.
Yep.
But looking through the field, it's amazing. Scott Ramler and Ken Huber are a second and a half faster than the field last time by. Michael Rupp's still sitting in third, battling with Daniel Krim, going down the short chute. Now,
you got two professionals out front. That's what's going on.
But Joe, we're running the West course. It takes out the very, very long straightaway. How do you think shortening the racetrack up could help out the racing around COTA today?
It's easier to get into a rhythm when you shorten up the track, especially when you take away the long, boring straightaways, especially the ones at this place. If we were to have the straightaways, you wouldn't have this battle right now that we're seeing.
Yeah, it is super cloudy out at COTA right now. On board with Scott here, coming out of turn number 1, Ken Huber. And it looks like we have an issue with Wyatt Franklin. Try to get that to you in a second. Ooh! Was that it? Just him kicking it a little sideways? Oh, nope, there it is. Hey, well, let's Jake get right by, and it looks like Brandon with another issue. Looks like this one's through the S's, and he does the exact same thing Jake does. Oh, God. That one very much wanted to take off. And I think that might have broke the Lamborghini. Well, if the turtle didn't, the back end to The back end definitely broke. They do get a faster pair, but he will have to pay for that tow.
I don't have my track map up because that's another thing that's not working at this particular moment. Yeah, Brandon is still towing.
So Wyatt's in the pits after his wreck. I'm trying to figure out what caused Jake to need to go into the pits. I didn't see any
Sympathy.
other. What was it?
Sympathy.
Oh. Unless Jake's trying to run it backwards, where they're gonna need to pit with around 5 minutes or 5 laps to go. That he's just getting his out of the way now.
It's a good way to pick up some late spots. Oh, looks like Wyatt disconnected.
That's not good. As you're looking at that battle for P1, Scott Ramler in the blue, Ken Huber in the orange.
Yeah, I would go orange.
Yeah, under a second now. Coming across the line this time by Scott with a 1:31.91 to Ken Huber's 1:31.43. As Jesus Castilla's with a wreck. Looks like he kept going. This is right down through the short chute. Oh, no, it's not. That wasn't bad. He didn't hit anything. Still riding around in that 6th position. 30 seconds back from Scott Ramler.
It's just a little spinny.
That's unfortunate with Wyatt. He took one hell of a hit, though. Looking for other close battles on the racetrack. You saw our 2 leaders right here. You have Michael Rupp, Daniel Krim, and Josh Vidal, all within about a second and a half of each other. And this is for 3rd place. This is very much a podium interview spot that they are fighting for. Up front, that gap has grown just a little bit. It looks like about 9/10 of a second, as we saw a little sunlight there completely go back to clouds as we head towards the S's. Joe, how many times have you actually raced around COTA?
I can count on one hand how many times I've raced COTA.
Well, then this should be relatively easy for you. How difficult are those S's just as you come off of coming down the hill after turn number 1? Because Scott and Ken are making it look very easy, while we saw other drivers really struggle with them.
In a proper road racing car, it's not that bad. In a stock car, forget it. These cars are purpose built, have the downforce, have the tire width and everything, the setup underneath them to, hug those S's. So totally different game, but it's fun in actual proper road course car, and anything made by NASCAR, not so much.
So what you're saying is what these guys are doing right now is making it look easy, while it's probably one of the harder vehicles to do it with.
You are correct, sir.
But look at this sunlight. Turn 1 up the hill and down the hill are bathed in sunlight. And that's starting to move toward the S's. This is going to heat up the racetrack, making it a little more slick for these drivers. As Rambler, last time by, fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.82 to Ken Huber's 1:31.34. That gap is well over a second and a half now as we drop back to third place. While that's still around a second and a half with Daniel Krim in the middle of that trio. Just about a second back from Michael Rupp, as Michael Rupp these last couple times by putting laps just a second or two off the lead pace, but a half a second better than Daniel Krim and Josh Vidal.
It's good seeing Rupp throwing down some really good hot laps here right now.
As we're on board with Rupp, getting through the stadium portions of this race course.
They got pretty much 3 HSR cars with all underneath a blanket right now.
And they are running very, very close together. There was a couple turns there where I thought Daniel Krim was just going to overshoot the turn. And I don't know how he was able to make the corners, but does, and keeps it within just about a half a second to Michael Rupp. That 47 is really fast with these tires. I'm just afraid he's going to burn them up before the end of the run.
Well, it's a choice that you can make on pit road when you come in for fuel. Do you want to take tires and risk your track position, or, for the comfort factor, or do you want to sit here and, try to gain some positions? It's going to be interesting to tell with these three.
Oh, as Krim throws it back to the long stretch. He got pretty close there. We're looking through the field. Everything still looks relatively calm. Your race lead is still just about a second and a half, led by Scott Rambler, then Ken Huber. The battle right now is for that third position. 3 of these drivers within a second and a half, and the third and fourth place are just 2/10 separating both of them. Prim is putting a lot of pressure on Michael Rupp, but is that pressure too early in the race? Coming through the final turn.
I would say put pressure on him while he's got a light fuel load. See what happens.
Coming up the hill. Michael Rupp looked to defend the inside line coming into turn 1 and able to hold position and even pull away from Daniel Krim now coming through the S's. It's a beautiful shot.
You can see that. You can see that in certain sections of the track, either one of those drivers is faster. The only person right now in that group right now that wouldn't have any pressure at all would be Josh Vidal. He's just sitting there waiting for one of these two guys to make a mistake at this point. He's just circling, just like a wolf, just waiting for something to happen.
Jesus with another issue on the racetrack. Oh, it just broke. And once again, he doesn't hit anything. But it just snapped, Joe. The left-hander through the short chute. Oh, he clipped the curb trying to go full throttle through it.
Them curbs, we talked about it early off, that the curbs were going to be a nightmare. And Daniel Krim's on pit road.
That's what we're showing. Daniel Krim hitting pit road. That's going to allow Michael Rupp and Josh Vidal to put a gap between them. Now I'm curious, when are we going to see everybody else hit pit road? Scott and
Well,
Ken are gone.
well, Scott Ramler is starting to pull a little bit bigger league on Ken Huber, so I would expect to see Ramler here in the not too distant future.
Now, is this going to be like most races we've had this season where it's just going to be a fuel stop, or with the left and right turns with the amount of force on these tires during those turns, are we going to possibly see drivers take tires?
Well, the track isn't overly hot, but this track is really grainy.
Yeah, it's very
If it was
abrasive.
me, if it was me, I'd be throwing tires on it. I'm also 43 years old and not very competitive in my old age. But, you know, it's complete preference at that point.
Michael Rupp on pit road. Josh Vidal moves into that third position. Now let's see what happens with Daniel Krim here. Does Krim get by Michael Rupp?
Krim's got that practice getting on and off pit road with that, with NASCAR. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Krim's pit stop was right around 9.5 seconds. And it looks like Michael Rupp is taking a full pit stop.
Full pit stop, probably tires too. Looks like Krim just took the fuel that he needed and hauled ass. Sorry.
That one's fine. I'll give you that one.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're still trying to fight some fires around here. Actually, my wife is having a literal fire outside right now.
Joe, I think I know why yours is being weird. It's because you're in there as a driver.
Probably.
That
That's the
gap
only way I can
between
race control.
that gap between Scott Ramler and Ken Huber is just about 2.5 seconds. You could do it as a spectator. I've done it. Oh, Scott goes off track just a little bit. You saw it there. Not too bad to hurt the car. Just a little bit.
He caught that little triangle.
Yeah, but Ken now is 1.5 seconds back. That has messed up that 57's concentration, it looks like.
Give Ramler a lap. He'll be back to form.
Yeah,
Or
maybe not a
did he
lap.
mess up the car?
I don't think he messed up the car, but he's already put that lead back up to right around 2 seconds. Now it's right around 1.75. Even with that quick off track, Scott Ramler with a 1:32.47. Ken Huber's with a 1:31.63. So almost a second difference between the two of them. But that gap that we were looking at earlier with Vidal, Krim, and Rupp, Vidal is yet to pit. Krim hit pit road, just took the necessary fuel to get to the end of the race. Michael Rupp sat on pit road for 22 seconds. His whole pit lane, including his stop, was 54 seconds. That is a huge gap of time lost. And just looking at Daniel Krim from when he entered pit road to when he left, that's only 41 seconds. So you could see the big gap that Michael Rupp is going to be fighting for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like Rupp took a full endurance pit stop instead of remembering to adjust some things because it is a sprint race.
Yeah, the only thing he didn't do was change drivers. Took tires, threw fuel in it.
Well, knowing our boy Rupp, he probably went into the fridge, grabbed a beer, came back, sat down, cracked it, said, "How's everybody going?" You know.
Yeah, well, so what you're saying is he's really enjoying himself.
He's having fun.
It's fun. We're having fun. As it looks like Scott Ramler's catching the 13 of Jake Zito, about to put that 13 a lap down. And there goes Jake, staying to the outside, giving room to the race leader. Attaboy, Jake. What you like to see. A lot of respectful racing out here.
Road racing is a lot of respectful racing. This is a gentleman's club. Just with cars.
We go vroom vroom. Well, Joe, something fun for our viewers next Tuesday, right here on the channel, for the All-Star 15 TV Super Tropheo Series. We're going to your home state. April 9th.
No.
The Chicago Street Course.
I'm gonna make sure the haulers are fully decked out with turrets. I mean, I'm sorry, they'll be downtown. They'll be okay. We'll be Chicago Street Course should be really fun.
It'll be the first time All-Star 15 TV will be at the Chicago Street Course.
Seriously?
Yep. As it looks like Daniel Krim has had an issue.
Oh no. Not Daniel.
He's coming to the S's, clips the turtle, and loops it. Doesn't hit the wall, locks it down, throttles up to stay off of it.
Good save. Good save. Good save too.
But that allows Michael Rupp to get by him. And now that 8 has fresher tires, fuel to the end of the race, and is currently ahead of Daniel Krim. Remember, there was a 12-second gap there.
Let's set up this scenario, okay? Daniel doesn't take tires. It takes enough fuel to get to the end of the race, so he's got a lighter car on hot tires. You got Rupp on brand new tires, full load of fuel, sitting there, putting all that weight on that car. I would venture to say that Daniel Krim is probably going to be turning lap times much quicker than Rupp and should be able to recover from this.
Should, but that was a hell of a spin, and he did a burnout trying to flip the car around and had to do another burnout to flip the car around again.
Yeah, they're Michelins. They'll be fine. I fully support Michelin tires. I have them on my car in real life.
It's because you look like the Michelin Man.
You know, I am wearing a white shirt today. Thanks, AJ. Got him to laugh. Finally.
There's the gap. Michael Rupp and Daniel Krim just about 2 seconds separating the two of them. 4 seconds between Scott Ramler and Ken Huber. Josh Vidal on an island of his own. Your top 3 have yet to hit pit road. Everybody watching at home, it's halfway through the race. We're taking our midway break. We will be right back.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but isn't enough. It's a drag race to the finish. Goldberg goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that McConey Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at McConey Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, McConey Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to McConeySetupShop.com and learn why McConey Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And there it is, green flag in the air, and we are a go.
Curb, curb, curb again.
Oh! And he's gonna make it work as they're 3/10 back.
Sir, you can't park there.
And we are back from the longest commercial break ever. Scott Ramler, Josh Vidal have hit pit road. Josh Vidal currently on pit road. When are we going to see the 20 of Ken Huber now come down pit lane? And it's going to be right here on lap 23 with just under 10 minutes remaining in the race. That should bounce the 57 back to the front of the pack. AJ Capola, Joe Hutchings in the broadcast booth. Joe, how has this race fared in your opinion?
I think all the drivers are struggling right now. and it shows in the attrition that we're having right now. It looks like Brandon came back out and ended up immediately wrecking again. And then let's see who's there.
Have a close
Wyatt's
battle
out.
back. Vidal, Rupp, and Krim under 4 seconds from each other. Jake Zedau on an island of his own in 6th. He's plus 3 spots. And then Jesus Pastillas in that 7th position, 47 seconds back from 6th place, and scored a 1 lap down.
Yeah, your top 5 are all still on the lead lap right now. It looks like Ken Huber just took over the race lead too.
No, he did not. It's Scott Ramler by 2.5 seconds.
Oh, well. iRacing is still having issues then.
And that gap is right around 2.5 seconds. Scott this time by a 1:32.03, and Ken is able to keep it within a 2-minute lap time with his pit stop. A very good entry and then pit stop. You keep it within 3 seconds of Scott Ramler, but a little bit further back for 3rd place, Josh Vidal in 3rd. Just about 2 seconds back is Michael Rupp, and 3.5 back is Daniel Krim. Let's jump on board with Josh Vidal. I didn't realize how much they utilize those rumble strips coming up the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Now, why do so many drivers use the rumble strips before entering the turn? Figured you might be able to clue our listeners into that, or viewers.
Think about it this way, it's just extension of the pavement of the racetrack.
So the same kind of thing when they turn onto Sunset at Sebring, where they bow out a little bit. They make it a left-hander onto the right-hander onto Sunset.
Yeah.
Josh putting some really good lap times together. Sitting in 3rd, Michael Rupp is going to have a very, very fast lap this time by. He is almost within a second. Possibly by the time they cross the line, it might be within a second. Vidal a 1:33.9 to Michael Rupp's 1:33.1.
We should be coming up on 5 minutes left.
Yes, sir. We are just over it. 10 seconds to go before 5 minutes remaining in the race. And it's been Scott Ramler has stunk up the field. If everything goes the way it has been, he's going to lead the most laps. And I think for the most part, he's going to lead all of them but 2. As Mike Rupp has completely caught Josh Vidal. This is going to be a fun battle towards the finish with 5 minutes remaining.
It's been a fun battle all race.
Now remember, the 8 has tires.
And Daniel Krim is lurking back there right now too. He's within a few seconds.
Yeah, he's 2.5 seconds back from Michael Rupp. But like I was saying, that
Oh, no.
Holy cow! Jesus Pastils. Oh boy, I thought that was going to be a bad one.
I probably have brown pants now.
I'm trying to figure out what happened. It's like 2 turns in a row, he just loops it. Now let's speed it up a little bit. Where I think he's going to do it again. See if this works. Yeah, and he does it almost in the same exact spot. And without any awareness, comes back on the racetrack.
That was close.
You ain't kidding, pal. But that gap is sitting right around a half a second with Vidal and Rupp, as we are closing into 2.5 minutes remaining. If Rupp is gonna make a move, he's gonna have to make it soon. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow.
It looks like Ken Huber is kind of running out of gas physically. Rambler's just pouring on the paint at this point.
And the funny part about that is that gap's right around 3 seconds, but I think that 57 is just gap managing. Ken Huber was 0.03 slower last time by, but I just mentioned, I think the 57 is just gap managing at this time. We are under 2 minutes left in the race. Or what do they say, 2 minutes plus 1 lap?
Yes. I wish there was a way for iRacing to inform the broadcasters and the admins of the race when there's a white flag. That would be wonderful.
You know, that's
more
only
things
with
that
road
you need
racing.
to add.
It's only road racing that doesn't do that. We just find out when the checkered is.
Yep.
Rupp is within a second. Vidal has been very consistent all evening long. No incidents. And look at him. Look at him cut to the inside to try to break the draft to the 8. Heading up the hill towards turn 1. So close together through 1. Still a half a second separating. White flag in the air for Scott Rambler, as we are going to stay with this battle. Joe, I'm starting to think that Rupp is going to have to throw it into a turn. Hope it sticks, and might have to use Vidal up just a little bit if he wants a spot. But Vidal's going to spin. Vidal's going to give up the spot, make a mistake. First time all race. Mike Rupp takes advantage. Grabs 3rd place. I did not have that on my bingo card.
That's what happens when you're the following car. You're going to force somebody into an unforced error.
Well, let's jump to our leader, the 57 Scott Ramler, with just about 6 turns to go. Race number 5 of the All-Star 15 TV Super Tropheo Series. Check out all of our beautiful sponsors in the description below the video. Through the final turn, he is going, and race number 5 at COTA is gonna go to Scott Ramler. Ken Huber is gonna come home and finish second. We're gonna have to wait about a month to see Michael Rupp in third cross the line. I still can't believe what we saw. And Joe, you mentioned it about a half hour ago. The rear car is gonna cause somebody to have an issue.
Oh yeah, every time. Every time. And all it is, you know, just the pressure of having that car behind you. It happens to the best of us. Myself included.
Like hearing footsteps.
Yeah, kinda.
And now Michael Rupp comes through the final turn and will take third place. Josh Vidal gonna sit fourth, and Daniel Krim coming home in that 5th position. 6th place goes to Jake Zito. Jesus Pastillas in 7th. Brandon Storr in 8th, and Wyatt Franklin in 9th. Well, we gotta jump to the 57 because, as always, it's the reverse victory lap. And it is not what you think. He's in reverse doing a victory lap. And I think we have all 3 of our podium drivers in the Discord, so that'll make it a heck of a lot easier when they are ready to talk to us. But Joe, what a phenomenal race, and it really came down to the wire for a couple positions.
Yeah, that battle for third place was actually pretty good. The watching the front two sitting there trying to trade off strategy to see what was going to happen, that was quite entertaining. Of course, Scott's strategy kind of pays off for him to get the dub.
Let's see if we can get... There's 1. There's 2. Hope they're not mad at us for moving them. But let's talk to P3, the driver of the number 8. It's Michael Rupp. Michael Rupp, it's AJ and Joe in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, my friend?
I do. Can you hear me?
We could hear you perfectly fine. Looked like you gave Josh footsteps. Like he heard you coming up, put a little pressure onto him. And I wasn't expecting to talk to you, but wow, dude, way to keep the car control and make your way back up towards the front.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the only ones who took tires, and that might have been the difference. Tire degradation was terrible around here. I mean, I had to do a lot of clawing back for the tire change, but I think it just worked out in my advantage.
Yeah, you said that you probably were the only car taking it. No, you were the only car that wasn't involved in an incident that took tires, and it just showed the stability in that car coming around COTA. But how was it out there on the racetrack? You said it was very abrasive and the tires were junk after a couple laps, but how was it getting
They
around and battling with Krim and Josh for the good part of the race?
The battle was great. Like you were saying, as far as the tire degradation, it just seemed inconsistent lap to lap, even on fresh tires. One lap, once something would work, you do it again the next lap, and it just seemed to change. So it was really just fighting the car the whole race.
Well, I hope to see you next week. We are going to the streets of Chicago. So from COTA to a street course. What are you expecting if you're able to make it around Chicago?
We will see. I've never driven that track, so.
Just like
And
that,
again,
I've also never broadcasted at that track, so it's going to be a learning
I
experience for multiple people.
I just bought this track today too, so I guess we'll see.
Which is funny because I would expect you to have a lot of road courses with how good you are at them.
Uh, it's just one I've never raced on here. I mean, I've driven it plenty of times on the F1 games, just never in iRacing.
All right, brother. Well, before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, any sponsors you would like to plug?
No, I do not.
All right, pal.
But if anyone wants to throw a sponsor my way, hey, I also have a real car that has room on it.
There you go. What do you race?
I have a Thunder Roadster GTR.
And where do you
Oh.
race?
So there's 5 different tracks we race at. We race at Mid Ohio is my next race in May. So we race there. Gingerman, Pittsburgh International Raceway, Autobahn Country Club, which I'm not gonna go this year because I have a wedding, but I'll also be going out to Ozarks for nationals, and then down to the Corvette Museum again at the end of the year.
Well, if you guys want to go support Michael Rupp, there you go.
Yep, NASA Great Lakes. Check it out.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for coming and talking with us. You have
All right.
a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you guys too.
All right, Joe, all yours for P2. It's Ken Huber.
Ken Huber, do you have a copy?
Hey Joe, how you doing tonight?
I am doing excellent, and it looks like you're starting to become a fixture in this on the podium.
Well, I got my butt beat tonight, so there's that.
You guys, it looks like you and Rambler are sitting there trading off wins at this point. But how was the race for y'all?
It was rough. That I was talking to Scott that you're wearing out the tires pretty quick here, and that shorter configuration too is it's not much fun in a road car. So, I mean, in a way, if I could have kept on his back bumper or something like that, there would have been no way I could pass him because all the passing zones are basically stripped away with this configuration. So, I was just hoping maybe to stay behind him and maybe beat him in the pits, but that isn't the. I obviously didn't have the speed to keep up.
It sounds quite unfortunate, but you still pulled a second place.
Yeah, it was a good race. I'm just a little tired. Just I had a hard day.
Oh, yeah, we heard what you guys got going on up there.
Oh, what was? Oh, the snow. Yeah. Well, I was out skiing. Well, oh God, man, my brain is slacking. While Jake was out shoveling it, I was out skiing. So.
See, I guess that's what retirement does, right?
Yep. Yep.
Well, Ken, do you got any sponsors you'd like to plug?
Just Vocal, my skis. I was on them today. They're awesome. They're faster than a Lamborghini, so I was pretty happy with that. And no, thank you guys in the booth for always putting on a good broadcast. And congrats to Scott for the win. And yeah, that's about all I have.
Alrighty, congratulations on second place there, Ken.
All right, thanks, Joe.
All right, that was Ken Huber finishing second. It's time to talk to the man of the hour, the driver of the number 57. It's Scott Rambler putting a mollywhopping on the field. Scott, are you going to give anybody a shot tonight? Like, even a little bit of hope? Or will you just be like, nah, I need some relaxation time up front?
I just needed some relaxation time in general, but Ken was keeping me on my toes. He was pretty close throughout the entire run, and I was just waiting for after the pit stop. I thought he was saving tires. I thought I was going to be boned. after the pit cycle, but it seemed like we were just faster in different sections and they offset each other. So there wasn't really any gaining or losing unless we hit traffic.
Dude, you were flying around COTA. What about this racetrack kind of brought the Scott Rambler fire tonight?
Yeah, I think it really just came down to the track conditions and the car itself. Uh, COTA is extremely technical. Then when you put a very uh, how do I put this? A very loose setup in a GT3 on top of that, you have to be able to back yourself off and stay off the traction control. Otherwise, with this car, like once you hit traction control, your rear tires might as well be casters. So you just had to baby the car all the way around and just hope you found time somewhere trying a different line or uh, breaking early for a corner, just constantly going through trying to feel the track out, what it'll take and what it won't. This was probably one of the most challenging races we've had so far this season.
Well, we go from COTA to the Chicago Street Course. I don't know your schedule. I'm hoping you're here next Wednesday. But what kind of action should we expect at the Chicago Street Course with these Lamborghinis?
I think the phrase "there's a wall there" is going to be said more than once.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling I'm going to be saying it a few times myself because I don't really know the Chicago Street Course. I bought it when it got released, and I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, I have never broadcasted, and I just got it a couple weeks ago here on iRacing. So this is going to be a learning experience, like I told Ken, for a lot of people. And I'm excited for it. And Scott, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. But before we let you go and enjoy the win here this evening, talk about those beautiful sponsors.
All right, got to thank McConey Setup Shop, Ben and Jeff McConey, longtime sponsor. Got him another dub. Love to see it. All Star 15 TV and you, AJ. Thanks for coming on board and not only broadcasting but commentating and being an awesome sponsor to our team and helping us grow this league. This is a lot of fun. Fixed setup league. Come out, have some fun with us, and we're not afraid to teach you the ropes. If you end up being faster than we are, we'll be happy to see it. We love competition. Let me swing my camera around because my brain is not functioning today. Got to thank Fry Trucking, JVM Graphics, and I can't read that other logo. It escapes me for the moment. But if your logo's on my car, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And obviously, thanks to Joe for putting the league on.
All right, pal. Well, thanks for coming and talking with us. Congratulations on the mollywhopping win here at COTA for race number 5 of the Super Tropheo Series. Hopefully, we talk to you next week.
Hopefully, we do. Have a good one, AJ. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
Joe, take us home.
Again, mistakes were made, but I still put on a decent race. I apologize to our viewers and to the guys in the league, but you know what? I hope you all had fun. This was an entertaining race to call again. And AJ, thank you very much for you and All Star 15 TV for hosting my league.
Yeah, absolutely. I have fun very much on Tuesday nights and on Wednesday nights. I'm very excited for A-Car tomorrow night at Martinsville, 140 laps around the paperclip. But got to give a huge shout out to one of my favorite comments of the race tonight in the YouTube chat, coming from Nate, who we wish was here at COTA racing around. It says, Scott has more control backwards than I do forward. It's so annoying.
Yep, and then hashtag get gooder.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Glad to have you here. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow night at Martinsville.
Deuces.